Hello, and welcome to the Millennial Nutritionist podcast. I'm Isla Garcia, master's degree of nutrition science and registered dietitian, and I'm going to make weight loss realistic, sustainable, and uncomplicated for your busy lifestyle. On this podcast, me and my team of registered dietitians will decipher the latest nutrition research, dissect fad diets, and discuss social media trends for you so you can feel confident knowing what to eat to achieve your health goals. Research suggests that most weight loss programs aren't successful, but my experience has taught me that this is not because the participants aren't committed. It's because those diets are designed by non-nutrition professionals and center around severe restrictions. We are here to provide the facts about the science of weight loss so you can have the success you want and continue living your best life. Hello, and welcome back to my podcast. My name is Isla. And on the Instagram poll that I posted between beginner weight loss guide and summer weight loss guide, summer guide won out. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I did a spring weight loss guide at the beginning of spring and it did really well. So I thought I could probably continue these seasonally or whatever if you continue to find them helpful, as long as I'm not repeating myself. If you want to ever take part in those polls, because they're kind of starting to dictate how I approach the podcast, make sure to go follow me at the.millennial.nutritionist. I have the dogs in here. I don't think you can hear them, but if you hear them snoring, that is what that noise is. Announcement. So for Millennial Living, I am going to upload, I already planned the, if I can figure out the module in my program for the hunger and fullness cues. It just seems like it's been coming up over and over again. It's a very, very basic thing as far as like understanding when you're hungry versus when you're full and when to eat. But I think it's something that a lot of people aren't taught. And whenever my clients watch the video, they're like, I never thought about that before. And now I always like evaluate where I'm at in the hunger scale for if I'm going to eat or not. And so it can be a really easy way to try to eat less naturally, especially if you're not wanting to track, by just tuning into hunger fullness cues. So I'm going to just do a repost of that because I think it's important to learn that if you haven't, or maybe a good refresher if you have. But I have about 30 minutes to get through today's topic, and it's a lot more meaty than I thought, or as far as like, it's just jam packed with just like very, very specific tips on how to get through the summer if you're trying to lose weight. I was thinking through some pitfalls or things that happen specifically in this season, and I have 6 of them. So without further ado, let's just get into it. So the first one is vacations. I feel like vacations could be on every seasonal one. And vacations, I'm not going to go in depth about it because I feel like I talk about it all the time. I did talk about it in the spring episode, so you can listen to that. And I don't think the tips would like differ too much. But we also have a whole dedicated vacations episode that I think was specifically in mind for like summer vacations that I repost a bit. So I will link those in the show notes, but you can also make sure to go check them out. But just, in case you never go listen to it and you want to know the top tips I would just tell people, maybe think of like a couple of things, a couple of habits, a couple of goals that you want and or can do. I think every vacation is a little bit different in terms of like what's realistic. Like if you feel like it's a vacation where maybe like you and your family are like just going to go stay at a beach resort, you probably have access to a gym, you probably have more time. So maybe exercising is more realistic, but maybe the food isn't because you're cooking like everything your whole family is. And so that's just something that's going to have to give as far as like you being super, super like disciplined, like the way that you were at home, or vice versa. I was talking to a client today and she did a trip for like a hiking trip through one of the national parks with her family. And so it was different. She was able to be really active, and also they packed a lot of food from the grocery store. So she had complete control. But one thing that she couldn't do is strength training because they were on the road and didn't have access, to a gym. So, and she came back at a lower weight. So I think just thinking through like what this could mean to you, it could be like to drink less alcohol, especially maybe if you're like doing a fun like European trip. I think that can be tempting, or like an all-inclusive resort, to include a produce with every meal. That can be really helpful to, especially make sure you're not constipated on a trip, but also like help you to just be full on a lower amount of calories, or even just to stay hydrated. That's a big habit that a lot of my clients end up doing because they find that it's just something they have control over, but it also helps you to feel better and have less cravings. So I think any of those could be good ideas, or you could even just think through like what is realistic for you. Under vacations, I have like two sub points. So first one is like a beach guide. So if you're going to do a vacation at the beach, or like even if you're just at the beach, I live at the beach now. I live in Charleston. If you don't know, we've been going to the beach like every weekend. I didn't think that would be a beach person. Hopefully, like the boat is in our future for next year, because that walk from the beach to the car is like no joke the worst time of the weekend. But for now it's like what we have. So feel like I've been able to hone in some good tips and skills on how to be mindful when you're at the beach. I'm still in like the trial process of like not being super successful, but I'll share what I think would work. So if you're gonna like do a packed, like let's say you're on a vacation and you're like doing like a pack thing, I think packing fruit is really good, like really hydrating, watermelon, fruit salads, and getting ready to go into like summer produce, like a quick and dirty list that you can be inspired by. But fruit is really, I think, fun and nice for the beach. Sandwiches really aren't that bad, especially if you are doing something that isn't like a salad based sandwich, just like plain meat, like not like tuna salad, egg salad, turkey. What are the other salads? I don't know. What else? Mayonnaise based. Those are gonna be a little bit higher in calorie, but the plain meat sandwiches really aren't that bad, especially if you're doing like fruit on the side, or you're able to like do some sort of like snacking veg on the side. That's a really balanced, low calorie meal. Or even like pasta salad. I was just trying to think of things that are like cold and easy to pack that would stay good. Those would kind of be like my picks. And a pasta salad that is a little bit more vegetable leaning. You could always like cut up deli meat also and put that in there if you need more protein. I think being mindful of how many low calorie drinks you're having. We were hanging out with a group of people at the beach the other day, and I obviously am not drinking at the beach, and I don't know if I even would anyway, but alcohol, but other people around me were, and I was thinking how easy it is to just like sit there and just like continue to drink drinks. I did a TikTok about this because it honestly inspired me about this too, that even though you're doing low calorie drinks, if you do like 5 or 6 of them, that's still 600 calories of alcohol, because typically the lowest calorie these drinks are around like 90 to 100 calories. So it's still not like, doing that in total is still like a lot of calories. So I think just being mindful of how much you're drinking. If you're not tracking, I think it could be a good idea to just like alternate with a bottle of water. It's also going to like help to make you feel a little bit better. So you don't get dehydrated from the alcohol. But I've honestly been enjoying just like fruit infused water, like making it really fresh and fun for the beach has been fun for me, as I haven't really been able to drink. And I think it's something I'll continue. There's something about like lemon water at the beach that tastes so hydrating and refreshing and fun. And I want to experiment with like different things, but I always have lemons on hand and they're so easy to just put in a big Stanley thing. And I just feel really good when I do it. And so that could be something that you do instead, or after you have like 2 drinks, switch to water or something like that. Walk. I think it's great. Like when you're at the beach, it's really great to walk on the beach, get some steps in. I try to implement like a 20 to 30 minute walk every time I go to the beach. Put some, AirPods in if you're doing it by yourself, because my husband doesn't like to walk with me at the beach. And I think the time goes by really fast. I love to people watch, and it's a great way to get in steps. Just make sure to put on some sunscreen or a shirt if you're nervous about it. But I think it's a great way to get in some steps and calorie burn while you're there. And one thing that I've been personally working on is trying to have a low calorie sweet treat for myself at home. I've gotten to this bad habit of like really wanting ice cream or like high calorie dessert on the way home. And I haven't mastered it yet, but what I want to try to do is have some sort of like either sweet treat lined up at home that's lower in calories. So like I'm thinking like a high protein ice cream. Because the one day I did like the 5 crumble cookies, that was like not the best move. Or thinking of having a place to go to on the way home that's a smoothie, or even if I'm like, I could just make a not so healthy smoothie at home, like that's higher calorie, like banana and chocolate protein powder and milk. And that's going to be probably better for me than just plain old ice cream. So if that's your problem, those are some solutions for you. And the third like sub point of vacations are people visiting you. So I've had some clients, and that's what their vacation time has looked like, is their parents or something visiting them. And I think it's just my like quick and dirty tips for this are to make sure to speak up for yourself and keep meals similar when you're like compared to when you're alone. I had a client that went through this recently, and she lost weight after her mom came and visited her, and she attributed that to trying to keep at least her breakfast the same every day. And I think this is something that's realistic, because you typically start out the day slow or by yourself or at home. And just eating the same breakfast that you were eating, making sure it's balanced and that you're going to fill up on fiber and protein can really help you. But other tips that I typically give are asking if they like want to go work out with you. At least if you're in your own home, I would think that you have a little bit more leeway to keep your routine the same. So try to keep that same workout routine if it's not inconvenient for everybody, and see if they want to come with you, or do they want to go on a walk with you. That's the one thing that I do, because I don't think the people that come visit me like want to go do a strength workout, especially because I just do stuff by myself. But they're typically up for like going on a walk to in the morning through the park or something like that. And so that can be a way to still include them, but you get your exercise in. I think another thing is making sure to think of like non-food activities, because I think when people visit, at least when they visit us, and like I have clients that have family and friends visit, they end up just like going out to eat a lot, and then they fall victim to like eating what they're eating. And so some ideas are like naturey things if people are up for it, like going on hikes or going on like, I mean, I live here, so things I think about that are like non-food things at the beach are like kayaking tours or paddleboarding tours. The people are up for it, or even like driving to like a swampy area and doing like a swamp tour. Museum walks, I feel like, is pretty much in most like major cities. Ghost tours, I always forget in Charleston, that's a thing here. And so that could like be a fun thing if it's in your area too, or any of those other like fun little tours of that, or home tours, stuff like that. And that also would get steps in. And then also just like going to the movies. You're spending time with people, and that's might be the biggest thing, is just having the time spent. Maybe it doesn't matter too much how you do it. Hey, sorry, future Isla coming at you, because I meant to do this ad and I forgot, but I'm just going to make it a quick ad now. And it's a new partner that is called Drink Wholesome. So they reached out to me a while back and sent me a product. And then if I like the product, I'll ask for an affiliate link that I can use for podcasting if I think it's something that's useful. And not every product makes the cut, but they did, because they are an egg white protein powder, which I found an egg white protein powder forever ago and could never find it again, and like only order them online. And so for them to reach out, I was like, oh my gosh, yes. So Drink Wholesome offers various protein powders, but the one that I really would recommend and like is their egg white protein powder. They have a chocolate, an unflavored, and a vanilla. And the thing that I do like about egg white protein powders is, first of all, if you're like worried about how unnatural like a protein powder, any other protein powder is, this kind of like annihilates that because it's from egg whites. But also I find that it's the least chalky flavor because it is just egg whites that's been powderized. The flavor is great. You could easily like mix it in something. I personally like it in anything that would originally taste chalky from other protein powders, you know, like a smoothie, or maybe like a overnight oat situation or something like that. So if you struggle getting in protein, I would highly recommend checking out their protein powders, especially the egg white one from Drink Wholesome. And I have a discount code for you. The link I will put in the description, but if you are interested, it is www.drinkwholesome.com/?ref equals TNM, but I will put it in the link, the description box below, or on podcasting or on YouTube, the show notes. But the coupon code is Isla Garcia, with the 10% off that you would get for that. So I just encourage you to check them out. I think they're a great product. I don't always take on protein powders, but this is one that I think you should really try out. Okay, so my second tip is to, or like struggle or whatever, are pool days. This is really similar, I think, to just like being at the beach, but I just remember when I lived in Texas, that's what we did all day, like every day in the summer, I feel like, is go to our apartment pool. And some tips that I would pull from that is, again, just be mindful of your drinking. I think those hot, long days where you're just like sitting around in the pool can be really easy to just like accidentally like overdo it. Even if you don't get drunk, like let's say you have a high tolerance, it's easy just to slip little low calorie drinks down. And before you know it, like I said, you've done 5 or 6, and that's like a whole meal. So some alternatives are like, first of all, yeah, go for the lower calorie beer or seltzers if you're not already doing that. Or I've gotten the habit of just like trying to take other fun non-alcohol drinks, because if you're like a little bit out of it, then I think your judgment goes away. So sometimes it's like not just the fact that it's like not low calorie drinks, it's just like the fact that it's alcohol, you know? So non-alcohol drinks that I found were fun were like canned matcha lattes I thought were really fun, or like canned teas or canned non-alcoholic seltzers, or again, like fruit infused water, stuff like that made it fun. I think sometimes the lure with alcohol is it's just like a fun thing that you only drink when you're like at the pool at the weekend. And so try to do that to other things. I tried to keep those drinks just my pool drinks, and that made it kind of fun. And then the end of the day dinner situation, I think, gets away from people for the beach as well. But eating out isn't bad. Like if you know, are just so drained from the pool, ordering something out that's really simple, like a salad, you could get, you know, almost everywhere. A lot of times we would do Tex-Mex. So like doing fajitas is easy. Or grilling food is also, I think, super simple. I know at our pool, we had a lot of grills. And so our group of friends would get together and like grill some food. And I'm going to go over a grill guide in a minute, but you can make grill food pretty healthy. Okay, third struggle is tips for kids being out of school. So for my mom clients, I hear that this is a common struggle. And so these are my tips for that situation. I think involving them in your healthy routine is something that I hope to do with my kids, and is something that a lot of my clients end up finding helps them. Instead of like trying to do separate things for the kids, like, you know, involve them in what you're doing that you've been doing while they've been in school. It's gonna be really helpful for them for the rest of their lives to know, like, you know, that we go on walks during the day. And that's what helps people as they get older to know that that is a normal part of life and a normal part of their routine. And so some things that have worked with previous clients, since I don't have kids, find a gym that they can go with you at. Like if they're older kids, they might be able to actually just like go to the gym with you and do stuff. And it's good. Like it's not bad or anything to start instilling good gym practices. I mean, we should be strength training no matter what our size is. So it doesn't have to do like a body shaming thing or anything. Like we should all be trying to increase strength because we're a really sedentary culture. And like no matter if you're underweight, regular weight, overweight, we should all be strength training. So it doesn't have to do with like a weight stigma. Or if they're really young, finding a gym where there's a daycare. I know Y's are typically pretty good at this. The old school like mom boot camp classes are really good with this as well, to just have somewhere where they can take them. One of my ideas is just to see too if like I can find a gym where I could just like use the classroom and take my baby with me. I've seen some like influencers do this. And I don't see why it wouldn't be okay. I don't know. I would just have to ask, but that's another idea. I'll report back when and if that works. Some like nutrition things is I think going to pick produce again, it instills a really healthy memory for them of like having fun things to do with healthy foods, because so many of the times that we like crave high calorie foods is just because we have these like nostalgic memories. And so trying to create that with non high calorie foods can be really helpful. So going to pick all the seasonal produce that I'm getting ready to go over can be really fun. And then coming home and teaching them, you know, how to make things. That's one thing I'm so excited as like my kid gets older, is to, you know, go pick strawberries and then come home and make strawberry jam or make a strawberry compote and put it on pancakes, or make strawberry ice cream, or just like eat the strawberries for like a healthier thing. But I think it can help them later on in life to know like where their produce comes from and stuff like that. Going to farmers markets, it's not just like a weekend thing. I know a lot of farmers markets just open on weekends, but especially if you find one that's like with a farm, a lot of them are open every single day. So it's something you could do on a weekday and have them cook with you. I know it could like maybe slow you down or make you a little bit more frustrated, but maybe try to find something that they can do or get involved in, because again, it's just going to help them, and it helps you to not have to like cook it and also like find other activities for them to do. Walking around the playground or doing like yard work while they're playing outside in the evening seems to help clients. Again, any way you can involve them in your healthy routines or try to be active while they're doing their thing. And then also just like taking time for yourself and asking help from others. A lot of my clients end up realizing that they're going to be more successful if they ask their partner to watch their kids for like 30 minutes while they go do a workout upstairs or something like that. And so just asking for that time can be helpful so you can get the stuff that you need done. And it's not like you're asking for the whole day. All right. 3 more tips. So fourth tip for your summer weight loss guide is to get involved with the summer produce. So I quickly made a list. I was like, I can make a whole video about this, but I just made a quick and dirty list. So I literally got this from the Whole Foods website. So you can always just Google what's in season, especially in your area, because it might be a little different from area to area. But just going through the list, berries are in season. So they're going to taste the best right now. You might be like me where you eat berries all year round regardless, but berries are going to taste the best now. So if you don't like the way they taste other times of the year, they're going to be sweeter. They're might not stay as ripe as long, but they're going to be the tastiest if that bothers you. Berries are also very high in fiber. So that's one reason that I eat them all year round. I try to eat like some sort of berry every day. And so they can help you, with all the fiber things. Cherries are in season. Nothing super special about cherries other than it'll just like mix it up for you. I recently got a thing of cherries from Costco and love snacking on them. Summer squash. I just posted a video on Instagram of like how I make my sauteed summer squash. And again, nothing like super like spectacular about summer squash besides the fact that it's low calorie because it's a vegetable. But I think it can just be fun to mix it up as a side option. Corn. Corn, I think gets a bad rap, kind of like bananas, but I would consider it more of a carb, but it's a really healthy carb. It's really high in fiber again, so it's going to fill you up versus like a really low fiber carb like pasta or something. Cantaloupe is in season. Again, another fun fruit to mix it up so you're not always just doing like a banana for breakfast. Stone fruits, which I forgot that are in season, so I'm totally going to get these when I go to the store next. Peaches, plums, nectarines, anything with that like pit in the middle is going to be in season. And again, not like anything super spectacular about them, but just helps to mix it up. So when we get back into the fall and the winter, you can just go back to what you eat every single day, like the apples that are from who knows where, they're in season all year long. Tomatoes are in season. And so really utilize the freshness of raw tomatoes. The rest of the year we can utilize them for salsa or for like marinara sauce or something like that. But I think now is the time to eat them in their whole state because again, they're going to taste the best. So ideas that come to mind are like caprese salad. Greek salad is another way I like to implement them so that you're just mixing it up. Again, I keep saying mix it up because I think it's really important to constantly mix up your produce so you don't get bored and gravitate towards more appealing high calorie options. And lastly, watermelon. I go through a watermelon like literally every 4 days. They are just so good. And I feel like they're only in season for like 3 months a year to where they actually taste good. So stock up on some watermelon. The good thing about watermelon, it's a high volume food. So unlike other fruit that's typically like 80 to 100 calories per cup, a serving of watermelon is like 130 calories per 3 cups. So you can get a lot more in you. And it is so hydrating. I'm so glad that it's I don't know why it would be a winter fruit, but if it was, that'd be such a crime because it's so hot out and it's so hydrating to like just have that watermelon. It just goes with the summer perfectly. My fifth tip for you is walk in the morning or evening. So one thing that I come up against a lot for clients is them saying in the summer and the winter that the weather makes it too hard to walk, which I get it. But in order for us to meet our health goals, we have to be consistent all year round. So I think getting the right gear, first of all, if you're not doing that, do it. So chafing is a thing. So get some good spandex. I recently have bought a bunch from Free People that I think they're inexpensive and they just get the black ones because they're not super thick because they're a little bit cheaper than Lululemon. But it can help you to feel more comfortable. Getting a hat can be really helpful, like a baseball cap or even like a sun hat and sunglasses for sure. Getting like a tank top, I have never had these, but like the sun specific clothing, like that either repels or like absorbs the heat. I can't remember how it works. That can also be helpful and just make your walk a little bit easier if you're not already doing that. Also, make sure to walk in the morning or the evening. I mean, don't be walking in the middle of the day where you're going to get a heat stroke. That might work in the off seasons, but right now we need to be walking when the sun is gone. So, I mean, I personally I don't go outside past like 9 o'clock and then I don't go outside again until like 7:30. So I even hate getting in the car during that time. So I try to just get up and walk before then or the evenings because we have the sun right now as opposed to the fall is really nice because the sun is down and I find that it's cooler in the evening versus the morning. or walk inside on the treadmill or go to the pool. Well, I feel like when I lived in Texas, it stayed hotter for longer. Like I don't feel like the evenings cooled down as much in this as Charleston. And the mornings also were just like brutal. I don't know if the sun set earlier or there was like a lack of shade because they don't have as many trees. But sometimes if I didn't wake up literally at like 5 o'clock, I couldn't go on a walk that was like tolerable. And so walking on the treadmill or even finding a gym where I could go do some cardio at the pool was how I got that done. Okay, last tip or guide point is summer cookouts. So, I feel like this is a thing. And I tried to group this into like a summer holiday because I was gonna go through a holiday tip for you in the summer, but I think it's kind of like one and the same. Um, so first for like the tip for summer cookouts, cookouts, I think, can be pretty healthy depending on like what else is there. Like typically somebody's gonna be making a meat, right? Like what else would you grill, I guess. So even if you do a burger, burgers aren't like that bad. You could skip the cheese to decrease calories, but I find that's just like the other things that you end up putting on your plate that are contributing to high calories. So go with a burger, that's nice and normal. And then I think that people typically have fruit at a cookout. So like go for some fruit and then maybe bring a vegetable. So you could bring like a veggie tray, or if you're in charge of it, grilling asparagus is super yummy. You could grill the summer squash. You could grill, I don't know, eggplant. I'm trying to think of other things off the top of my head. We've been just doing burgers and asparagus like every other Sunday, and it's been so tasty for a nice, filling, fun summer lunch. So I think you can still make a meal really balanced, but you might, if it's like a group cookout, you might need to bring it yourself. Or if you are doing it yourself, you could do something like grilled chicken and a side of grilled vegetables is a really, really easy and healthy meal. Um, Baked beans, also just a reminder, they do count as a serving of vegetables. You only need half a cup of beans and they have a ton of fiber. So I would encourage you to put that on your plate if that's an option. That's one thing that one of my clients does, and it's just a great reminder. And then also, if you're going to a cookout, try to take a huge jug of water and just sip on it. I just remember when like the summers would come and I would have friends that would host cookouts. I would just end up sitting there for hours. And so, kind of going back to the alcohol thing, I think having a really big thing of water can help because it's hot out. And then that way you have an alternative to drink and sip on while everybody else is doing their thing with alcohol. So, the summer holiday that I think coincides with this is July 4th. I'm surprised there weren't more other summer holidays. I guess the biggest thing is just like going on vacations and stuff. But for July 4th, I think all of this rolls into all the tips. Like maybe you're doing a cookout, so follow the cookout tips. Maybe you go on a vacation, so follow the vacation tips. Maybe you go to the beach, so follow the beach tips. But I think just treating it, coming up with a plan, thinking of what you can do, thinking of what's realistic is always what I encourage at these things, and celebrating those like summer fruits and stuff, which I will be doing. So you can make sure to follow me on Instagram, all the places, so I can show you actually how to use them as well. Oh, okay. I can't believe we got through that so fast. I've been like watching the clock because I have another client call in 15 minutes and I need to prep a little bit for, but I hope that is really helpful for a summer guide for you. I think the summers overall, um, hopefully aren't too hard because we have a lot of good fruit and vegetables that are being celebrated at like the grocery store. It's not like we're in pumpkin season where like everything is really high calorie. We have some good opportunities. I think the biggest thing with the summer is just a lot of people are pulled away from their normal schedules because of vacations and people visiting and stuff like that, and watching out for those alcohol days with the pool and stuff like that. So just be mindful of all those things, and I'm sure you'll be good. Hopefully I'll make another one of these for the fall. We'll see, because I'll have my baby at that point. Just 10 more weeks to go from today. But your call to action today is to check out our membership page, Millennial Living. We do a monthly challenge over there, and I think the same 3 people have been doing the challenges, which is great. But if you complete the challenges, which this month the challenge is to try a new fruit or vegetable for 3 times and post about it. If you do that, you're entered to win into a drawing for a $25 gift card. And so because there's not a whole lot of people that do it, the chances are really high that you will get them, and you could just earn your money back for being a part of the membership. I also put all this like other passive stuff. If the challenges aren't for you, I totally get it. And we put a grocery guide, a PDF that's helpful, food demo, and just like a 101 module, which I said like hunger fullness cues is the module for this month. So go make sure to check those out. You get your first 2 weeks free. You can cancel it if it's not your vibe, but I'll see you next time. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Millennial Nutritionist podcast. For daily weight loss tips and nutrition information, you can find us on Instagram at the.millennial.nutritionist and on TikTok at millennial.nutritionist. If you find this information helpful, please subscribe to the podcast and share it with a friend who needs encouragement on their health journey. See you in the next episode.